5 points. 5 points clear at the top of the Premier League. And I genuinely cannot sleep. I know how that sounds. I know people are sending me messages saying, relax, it's done. We've got this. And part of me wants to believe that. A big part of me. But there's this other part, the part that has watched this football club for years. And that part is sitting very quietly in the corner going, just wait. Because here's the thing, nobody wants to say this right now. 5 points looks like comfort. 5 points feels like breathing room. But 5 points, with a game in hand for Manchester City and a goal difference gap of exactly 1 goal, is not a cushion. That's a tightrope. And we're still walking it. I'm Amelia. Welcome back to the channel. And today I want to talk about something that I think is getting lost in all the celebration energy right now. Because yes, Arsenal beat West Ham. Yes, the 3 points are massive. Yes, we are in the best position we have been in for a very long time. All of that is true, but I need us to be honest about what the next 12 days actually look like, because I've been through that fixture list. I've sat with it, and I have thoughts, uncomfortable ones. Before we get into it, if you think I'm overthinking this, if you think Arsenal are already champions, and I need to calm down, drop that in the comments, genuinely, because maybe I am wrong. Maybe this is just Arsenal fan brain doing what it always does. I want to hear from you. Right, let's start with the number that nobody is talking about properly. 1 goal. Arsenal's goal difference advantage over Manchester City right now is 1 goal. After 36 Premier League games, 36 weeks of football, of tension, of late nights, and VAR decisions, and all of it. And the margin between these two clubs in goal difference is a single goal. I don't say that to panic you. I say it because I think we need to understand what kind of title race this actually is. This isn't Arsenal running away with it. This is 2 elite teams separated by the thinnest possible thread. And every single game from this point forward carries consequences that go beyond just 3 points or 0 points. 1 heavy defeat, 1 bad 45 minutes, and that goal difference flips. And if this goes to the wire, and I'm not saying it will, but if it does, that number matters enormously. So when I hear people saying, the hard work is done, I need to push back on that, respectfully. The hard work has put us in a brilliant position, but the job is not finished, not even close. Now let's talk about the fixtures, because this is where it gets interesting. And by interesting, I mean slightly terrifying. Arsenal have 2 games left, Burnley at home, then Crystal Palace away. On paper, that looks fine. On paper, that looks very manageable. Burnley are already relegated. They are down. They are going to the Championship. A home game at the Emirates against a side with nothing left to play for. In theory, 3 comfortable points. And maybe it is. I hope it is. But I've watched enough football to know that relegated sides can be awkward. They play without pressure. They have nothing to lose. And Arsenal, who will be playing with the weight of an entire title race sitting on their shoulders, that psychological difference matters. It always does. But okay, let's give Burnley the benefit of the doubt and say Arsenal handle that. 3 points, done. Then comes Crystal Palace away. Selhurst Park, I need you to really think about this fixture for a second, because I've seen takes online saying, it's fine, Palace have nothing to play for, they'll rotate, they'll be thinking about Europe. And I understand why people think that. Palace are in a UEFA Conference League final just days after this game. It makes logical sense that they'd manage the squad carefully. But has anyone actually been to Selhurst Park? Has anyone watched Palace at home and thought, yeah, this lot are going through the motions today. That ground is loud, it's hostile. The players know what it means to the fans. And even if Oliver Glasner rotates, even if half his first team isn't playing, the players who do start will still want to perform. They're professional footballers. They have pride. And honestly, there's another version of this. What if Palace used the Arsenal game as a warm-up? What if Glasner looks at his squad and thinks, we need rhythm, we need confidence going into a European final. Let's go and compete against a top side and see what we've got. That is a completely plausible managerial decision. I'm not saying Arsenal won't win at Selhurst. I think they probably will. But this idea that it's automatically straightforward, that's the kind of complacency that title races punish. History is full of teams who needed one win, assumed it was coming, and didn't get it. Now let me flip to City, because their run-in is what everyone needs to actually pay attention to. 3 games, Crystal Palace at home on Wednesday, Bournemouth away, then Aston Villa at home on the final day. The Palace home game, look, City should win that, home at the Etihad. Midweek, Guardiola's side will be motivated. Palace away from home are a different proposition to Palace at Selhurst. I'd expect City to take 3 points there. Villa on the final day, again, City should handle that. Villa's Europa League final happens before the last day of the Premier League season, which means if Villa are fatigued, if they're emotionally spent, if they've already celebrated or already grieved, City potentially get a more open game. That's a factor. But between those 2 fixtures is Bournemouth away on a Tuesday night. And I want to sit with this one because I don't think it's getting nearly enough attention. Bournemouth are fighting for European football. They need points. They are at home in front of their own fans with something real to play for. And City will be coming into that game, having played Crystal Palace just 6 days earlier, potentially still managing minutes across a grueling end of season. I'm not saying City lose at Bournemouth, but I am saying that is the most dangerous fixture in this entire title run-in for either club. More dangerous than Arsenal at Selhurst. More dangerous than anything on paper says it should be. And if City slip there, if they draw, if they drop 2 points on the South Coast, then it's done. Arsenal win the league, regardless of what happens at Palace. That's the scenario Arsenal fans need to understand. Their fate is in their own hands. Yes, but City have a genuine banana skin ahead of them. And Guardiola knows it. He absolutely knows it. You know what? I'll be honest with you, and this is one of those moments where I'm not sure if it makes me feel better or worse. Part of me would rather be 2 points clear right now. I know that sounds strange, but 2 points clear with 2 games left would mean I know exactly what we need. Win both, simple. The pressure is clean and direct. 5 points sounds better, but it creates this weird psychological space where you're not quite in danger, but you're not quite safe either. And for Arsenal fans especially, for people who have lived through the moments we've all lived through, that in-between feeling is somehow the hardest place to be. You can't relax into confidence, but you can't fully justify the panic either. You're just suspended, waiting. And I think that's where a lot of us are right now. And I think that's completely rational. Anyone who tells you they're fully calm at this stage of the season is either lying or hasn't been following this club long enough. Let me ask you something directly, and I want honest answers in the comments, not just the positive ones. Are you actually confident, not publicly confident, not what you're posting on Twitter, but genuinely sitting with yourself? Do you believe this is done? Because I've spoken to so many Arsenal fans this week, and the honest answer from most of them is some version of, I think we do it, but I won't believe it until it's mathematically confirmed. And that's not pessimism. That's just what this club has taught us to be. Now I want to talk about the VAR moment at West Ham, because I think it's more important than people are treating it. Late in the game, West Ham thought they'd equalized. The ground erupted, and for a few seconds, just a few seconds, it looked like it might be ruled a goal. And in that moment, I think every Arsenal fan watching felt the same thing. That cold drop in your stomach, that involuntary, oh no, and then VAR saved us. Raya was fouled, goal ruled out, 3 points confirmed, relief. But I want you to hold on to that feeling for a second, because that moment, that flash of fear, that's telling you something real about where this title race is. We are not in comfortable territory. We are in moments deciding everything territory. One VAR call going the other way, and Arsenal go into this week a point ahead of City, rather than 5 ahead, with City having that game in hand. Everything changes. We got the decision. It went our way. But football is full of decisions going both ways. and the margin for error between now and the end of this season is basically zero. Right, let me give you the realistic final day scenario, the one I keep running through my head. At about 2 in the morning, Arsenal beat Burnley, City beat Palace in the midweek game. The gap stays at 5 points, with 2 games each left. Arsenal then go to Selhurst Park, needing a result. City go to Bournemouth, needing 3 points. Let's say, hypothetically, Arsenal draw at Palace and City win at Bournemouth. Suddenly the gap is 2 points going into the final day. Arsenal away to Palace on the final day. City at home to Villa, 2 points, final day. City at home, Arsenal away. Villa potentially flat after a European final. Palace potentially emotional after theirs. I'm not saying that happens. I actually don't think it happens. But the fact that it's possible, the fact that this mathematical path exists that tells you everything about where we are. This is not a procession. This is a title race, a proper one. So where does that leave us? Here's my honest position. And I've thought about this a lot. I believe Arsenal win this league. I do. I think the squad has enough. I think Arteta will have them right mentally. I think Burnley at home will be handled. And I think even if Palace make it difficult at Selhurst, Arsenal find a way. I believe that. But, and this is a real but, I also think City are not done. I think Guardiola will have that Bournemouth game figured out. I think they'll set up to win it ugly if they have to. And I think the final day could still have something to say. What I'm not going to do is stand here and tell you it's already over. Because it isn't. And any content creator telling you it's already done is either trying to make you feel good or hasn't done the maths properly. 5 points, 2 games each, 1 goal difference. A side in our run-in playing at one of the most hostile grounds in English football, and a City squad managed by probably the greatest tactical mind the game has ever produced. That is the reality, and it's a reality. I think we should go into with clear eyes. I think we win it. I genuinely do. But I'm holding that belief carefully, because that's what this club has taught me to do. Not because of pessimism, because of respect for how hard this is, for how hard the players have worked, for what it would mean. I told you at the start, I couldn't sleep, and I meant it. Not because I'm scared, but because I care. Because this matters. Because 38 games of effort, of Arteta's system, of these players giving everything, it all leads to this. 12 days, 5 games between 2 clubs, and one of them is going to be champions. Come on, Arsenal. Quietly, carefully, hopefully, but most importantly, come on, Arsenal. Tell me honestly, are you sleeping this week? Or are you sitting with me in this nervous, hopeful, slightly exhausting middle space? Drop it in the comments, and if you think I'm wrong about any of this, I especially want to hear from you. Because this is exactly the kind of conversation we should be having right now.